What's Spirit got to say about love, soul contracts, karmic relationships, all of the different spiritual paradigms surrounding love? And I think I definitely mean romantic love for this episode because this is the Valentine's Day episode of the Charmed Life podcast. So let's talk about all of those things. In this episode, let's talk about love. I'll also be giving love readings, which will be good for anyone at any time. If you open your heart to it, you will hear a message from Spirit even in someone else's reading. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the Charmed Life podcast. This podcast is all about magic, metaphysics, mysticism, and the unconditional love of the universe. And I am your host. My name is Tricia Carr. All right. I'm very excited to connect with you today on this topic. It is the Valentine's Day edition. We are live with this podcast episode as often, not as always, but as often, especially if I'm doing a solo episode. So if you're here live with us, tell me hello. Tell me what you are feeling in your beautiful heart about love today, and maybe say hi from wherever you are watching. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about love and the abundance of love. That's what I really would. Oops, shoot! I want to light a candle for us, but my white candle said pass. So I want to talk about the abundance of love in our life. So I'm lighting a candle, even though my white candle wanted to ditch out. We're going to use now a violet one, which is awesome. That'll call in the violet ray for us. The violet ray for love. And yes, let's talk about the abundance of love. And because everything really is about abundance. Abundance of health, abundance of wealth, and abundance of love. So as I start this, I also have a beautiful rose quartz here. It's a little rose quartz tower, and I'm wearing one around my neck. And I want to just say that if you are comparing yourself to anyone else for any kind of abundance quotient, meaning if it is for, since we're talking about love, you're comparing yourself to love that someone else has, or even to yourself. Oh, what if I had a better partnership? What if I had a partnership? What if my beloved and I were in a relationship? Or what if I could increase it? And we're using someone else's abundance quotient that we perceive about that. Now you can also let this apply to wealth or your purpose work, anything at all. Abundance in some area. If you're looking at what someone else has and comparing yourself, well, let's just start with the fact that you don't need their abundance. It is a trick that our mind and possibly our core wounds, our wounded inner child, is playing on us in our experience, because if we are comparing ourselves to another person's abundance quotient of anything, then we are operating in a belief of a paradigm that the universe is limited in abundance of any kind. So you don't need their abundance in love if that's what you're seeing, and seeing yourself in contrast as lacking. What is happening if we indulge that belief and that paradigm is we stay locked into a belief pattern paradigm, a matrix that says that there is a limited amount of abundance in anything. So if there's a limited amount of abundance, we have a couple of real big problems, and that is that when you have abundance in something, you're hurting someone else. And when someone else has an abundance in something, they're hurting you. So we want to disconnect from that, right? We want to clock into, tap into, lock into the unlimited abundance of love in the case of this episode. And with that in mind, well, I'm going to say hello to Path of the River. Hi, Path of the River. So perfect. Nice to see you. Tracy's here. Hi, Tracy. Nice heart. And Martina's here. Hello. I'm feeling sad. I'm so sorry, Martina. We hope that you feel better through this interaction today. And Day says much love to you all. Oh, Kate is here. Hello, Kate. Lovely, lovely to see you all. From the premise that we're starting that we are choosing to tap into and lock into the matrix that abundance is unlimited in this universe. And if you would like to agree to that, just let your heart open to it right now. Have a sense that if this helps you, that your heart is like a flower that opens to the high noon sun to receive that ray. Or you might imagine that the flame within your heart that does illumine your true soul-aligned beliefs, like this candle that I am gesturing to in the video version, that your heart is lighting that flame of love within, the flame of love that is able to find the direct path, the direct frequency connection to your truest, your highest belief pattern that the universe is abundant and limitlessly abundant. In that, we can now look at some of these concepts that we get up to in spiritual philosophy and metaphysics and mysticism. One of which is soul contracts. Soul contracts. And soul contracts, I find a real significance of this playing out in my life, in others' lives. Now, you might just think of it, no matter what, it's a concept that just seems to help us understand how and why we are having certain relationships. But let's put in this philosophy structure of what soul contracts are from this metaphysical standpoint. And what we understand soul contracts to be is something that we set in motion, or as a potential, at least, before we even come into an incarnation. And the way that we would do this is we would first start with ourselves. We start with the individual's plan, pattern that we want to learn about something. And this wanting to learn about something is, in a manner of speaking, karma. But karma really is just the opportunity to experience something and to expand within a certain framework. So before we come into this life, let's say from a very simple standpoint, I would like to learn about being very sensitive and the strengths of being a certain kind of sensitivity. And in that certain kind of sensitivity, as she tells her actual true story of a life, in that kind of sensitivity, one of the shadow frequencies that might be available to experience as contrast, this shadow, is codependency. And also in this codependency, there is a victimhood. Now, we're all here to experience the shadow of victimhood. We all feel victimized at some point in our life, and possibly in this very moment, we are holding some kind of shadow of victimhood. Because we all want to experience freedom, and we want to experience freedom with our own free will, by our own free will, and in the unlimited abundance of the universe and our capacity to create no matter what, without limits. Now, in order to learn about that, we tend to experience victimhood. Victimhood is a sense of not having freedom. Freedom is what we are here, ultimately, every one of us, through different shades, different rays, different fractals, to experience. So before I came into a life, I set up this intention to learn about being sensitive and free. As a shadow, as the victimhood frequency of sensitivity, there is a tendency for that victimhood to be channeled through codependency. So then, I've set this up. I haven't dispatched it into an incarnation yet, but I have a group of people or entities, let's say, who I have been working with for a few lifetimes, or maybe even this one is new in this lifetime, who knows. But they're also setting up an incarnation, and the vortex of that soul energy that would be brought down. And this person says, you know what, I want to learn about freedom through my capacity to be more compassionate. And in being more compassionate, I'm also going to be less compassionate as that shadow. And then I might victimize someone else. So that might be something that is, an aggressor or a narcissistic. That would be a shadow that would activize their capacity to victimize someone else. and or you might even just say arrogance or self-centeredness. And in those kinds of playing around in that shadow frequency, there seems to be a really good match of the shadow frequency of codependency. So this person wants to learn more about compassion with a capacity to victimize someone else. This person wants to learn about sensitivity with the capacity to make themselves a victim in codependency. Then they say, let's make a contract. And if we get to a certain point of this life where it seems like we still want to learn more about these two magnetizing polarities, these two that want to come together, then we'll activate a relationship in the physical. Now, by the way, this could be a soul contract between like a child and a parent. So then that's going to start at the get. The parent and the child, it's starting from that moment. So now I've gone down into this life. We're imagining this is a potential romantic partnership. And so we say, so then we might get married, but it's still a might because we are actually ultimately free. I come into this life and I'm that sensitive one who wants to learn about being free, and the shadow tendency of that is that I might have a kind of sensitivity, or a tendency to become codependent. And, I get into fear, as we all do, and then I kind of like go into this mode of wanting to people please because I have this codependent nature that is showing up. And now here I am learning about this. Someone in, let's say, even in my schoolhood years, schoolgirl years, is like, oh, I'm going to be a bully to you because I sense that you're going to take it. And then I just take it, and then I finish that grade, and I've got more fear, and I've got more of a tendency. And then let's say I finally graduate high school and college, and I get my first job, and I've got this boss who is not paying any attention to what my needs are and is expecting me to sacrifice my sense of well-being and my free time, and is promoting someone else over me because I won't complain about it, even though I deserve it more. All of these other things. Now, let's say this is where we're going to step forward next. I don't stand up to this boss. And I just eventually leave that job situation. And I'm still just, as sensitive and still just in my fear shadow aspect of having a tendency to behave in codependency. Well, now that person that we signed a contract that we might, if it's valuable to us, I'll probably marry that person after all. Because this person wants to learn about compassion with the tendency to victimize someone. I want to learn about sensitivity through the tendency to be codependent and victimized that way. Boom, we get married. We'll see what happens in that love story, won't we? Probably super duper attracted to one another. Woo! We got some puzzle pieces to click in with one another. Now, let's say that school years happen as they do, the bully happens, and then I, get to my first job, and this boss is this kind of like arrogant narcissist, ignoring my real needs, wanting to promote someone over me just because they're a squeakier wheel, even though I deserve it. And I stand up for myself, and I say, no, I am not going to people please anymore. I will speak up for myself. I will notice my own worth, and I will stand in my own worth, and I will not tolerate. I have no longer any tolerance for my self-worth to be devalued because I'm valuing it. So then you know what happens? I have boundaries, and I say, here are my boundaries. I will receive the rewards for the work that I do. I will be respected. No, I will not be taking away from my home life in a way that is making me unhappy or creating something in my life that is unpleasant for me. I will do my work. I will stand in integrity, and I will be a good employee. What do you think about that, boss? Now, who knows what happens with that boss? Maybe they accept it. Maybe we part ways. But the point is, energetically and behaviorally, I have learned what I needed to learn about being codependent, and I have said no to it. I passed my own test. Well, that soul contract that was sort of kind of planned, if it's beneficial, we're not even attracted to each other. Maybe we to some degree, and we become friends. Maybe, but we probably will just possibly miss one another. Or I do my lesson kind of halfway and then we get married and we work out the rest of that test together. There's many different options for a soul contract. You feel a soul contract kind of relationship when, you're in it for a long time. Now, here's the other thing. It can be wonderful that, let's say the way that my life actually went was I moved through some of those challenges. I stepped out of relationships. I stood up for myself. I had to struggle and fight and scrape to seem to survive when I was actually leaving a shadow aspect of myself behind. And guess what? That's how the contract that I did have with my actual husband was able to be activated, because he and I wouldn't have been attracted to one another in the old version of myself. So that is to say that I activated a very positive soul contract with my husband that is there. It's free of codependency and it's free of arrogance and narcissism and insensitivity. Well, I mean, mostly free. Sometimes we're grumpy and we just don't do things as well as we could, but we have a safe, compassionate place to be able to help one another. Now, there are other options. Maybe I didn't have another soul contract potential besides this one that is with my husband. That's what the story seems like to me so far, because I didn't marry anyone else. I had other relationships, but they were temporary. And this one is the one that I am being nourished by, and I think I can speak for my husband. It's nourishing him as well. And we just want to keep doing it and learning and growing together. So if you're wondering, do you have a soul contract either with your partner or with a partner to be? Of course, that's entirely up for your own discernment and personal self-inquiry about. But here's the thing, is that we are ultimately free. Just as we started this episode by saying that you don't need their abundance. You don't need someone, if you're comparing yourself, you don't need someone else's abundance in love. And you also don't need to have the perception of a person that you're not yet in order to deserve love. That's another kind of comparison. You don't have to be perfect and absolutely healed in every aspect in order to attract that love relationship, that if you want a love relationship that would be long-term or life-term. You can be as messy as you want to be, but you might have a soul alignment that you want to save yourself from unnecessary karmic relationships in certain areas. And so then let's talk about karmic relationships. I have had karmic relationships in work, in friendships, and I did have a karmic relationship in, I guess it was supposed to be, it was a primary relationship. I would say it was supposed to be a romantic relationship, but it wasn't really romantic. It was just a primary relationship where basically I was like, held in a partnership, again, because of my codependency. That's a story for a whole other day. I would say karmic relationships, and again, remembering that karma is us learning something, learning a lesson, wanting to grow, wanting to expand in something. And so you could kind of say that every relationship that is having is sustaining to some degree has karma. I mean, every relationship to some degree has karma because you're learning something. So it just depends on what we're kind of assessing karma to be. I may not have a karmic relationship with the barista because, we just see each other casually and we don't have a lot of real investment in one another. One karmic friendship that I had was one that actually did play out some patterns of codependency for me. It was a karmic friendship and a business relationship. And it was rocky. And in that, I was able to, when I left it, when I became empowered because of it, through it, then it cleared up a lot of deep core wounds for me. And, I might still be working through some of that. And then there are some other kinds of positive karmic relationships. I have a really close friend. I think of best friendship as more of a tier than a person. And it's like, here are the best friends. They're all up here above this certain level. One of my best friends, this is a really amazing relationship. And I would say this is also a kind of this is a soul contract, maybe clearly not the romantic soul contract, life partnership. This person and I met through work. How long has it been now? I think it was about 15 years ago. Yeah, about 15 years ago. We were both, well, I was in a different career. He is still in this career. And we were kind of friends, but this person has actually been on my podcast, so I'm not telling their story out of turn, even though I'm not going to say his name. He was in addiction. He was in alcoholism. And so we actually, we were kind of friends then, but then there was this time where he, actually went and got sober. So he has been on this amazing, in his sober journey, has also ignited his spiritual journey in a whole new way. And when he came, like we weren't in contact for a couple of years probably, or very little. And when he came back, it was really remarkable because when he came back, I mean, he literally came back to the area. So when we got together and he was sober and healthy and in his spiritual journey in a whole fresh way, I remember sitting down with him and looking into his eyes, and I was like, "Oh, there's my friend." And it was like I hadn't met him all the way in this life yet because of the shadow of what he was dealing with, and maybe also because when we first met, I hadn't had my spiritual awakening either, and then it was like a remembrance, even beyond this life, even though we had already been friends in this life for several years. And there he was. And oh my goodness. So this is definitely a very positive karmic friendship that has been blossoming and blossoming. And oh my gosh, I miss him because this month I've been too busy and I haven't gotten to see him. So anyway, there's beautiful kinds of soul contracts and karmic relationships. There's shadow and light to be played with in all of these areas. So having said that, again, there is no such thing as limitations. And in any way that we feel that we are limited, it is just ourselves making ourselves victim to it. And that our abundant frequency is actually our most natural freedom frequency for us. And our love relationships are here for that opportunity. So I hope that you're experiencing that in all of the ways that are available to you. And, just you deserve love. You are love. So how could you not deserve love? In fact, you are here because of love, because love made you, love designed you, and love released you for the sake of having more love on this planet and in this universe. All right. Now, I would love to give some love readings if anybody would like one. And so what I would invite you to do, if you would like, is to pop a question into the feed there. Something you can get a little more out of it if you put a little more into it, meaning like a little into the question. And I'm going to be using cards because it supplements when we're doing something that is mini readings like this with that kind of remote access going on. And we'll move through these, but I'm going to pull some cards just right up front for everyone while people are seeing if anybody wants to do a reading. And let me see what this comment is from Path of the River. It's amazing that you're speaking to my soul. Wow, I love this. Thank you for offering. Oh, wonderful. So let's put some intention out there about love. And, there's always more love available to us and always more love available for us to give. So that's great. That's what I'm going to pull a couple of cards on while we're waiting to see. And everyone who's listening or watching in replay too, set your intention. These cards will be for us. So the first card I'm pulling, this one, is for the love that we can receive and how we can receive attunement for that. And then the second card will be the love that we can give. And this is the card for that one. I'm using my dragon deck for this. It just was calling to me because, the dragon's fire is potent passion and potent joy. And That's, I think, a great frequency to call in as it concerns love. Okay, what is this third card? I have a third card and I didn't listen to what this would be about. Oh, and this one is just how to bring it all together in unity. Okay, so our first card for how we can receive more love is the Silver Dragon. Illuminates your potential with higher light. Access untapped resources. Look into your soul. See higher possibilities. So I love this, showing us higher possibilities about how we can tap into love frequencies. And we have here, oh, it's great actually. As if in case you didn't hear me in the beginning, I had set up a white candle in my candle holder here that is demonstrating for us the flame of love, but the white candle jumped out of the holder. So I put my violet one in, and there's a lot of violet. It's indigo as well. It's like a violet and indigo in this card. Silver Dragon. And so with the silver ray, this is tapping into, tuning into that higher transdimensional chakra of the soul star chakra. And the silver ray is bringing into our energy from the soul that that anything is possible, and the capacity for creating, as if when we are basking in the light of source, or basking in the light of stars, that inspiration from the soul inspiration. So tapping into those higher possibilities, and it coming down into the heart so that we do love ourselves into the love that we can receive, right? That's what I'm getting from this Silver Dragon. Okay. Now, next, and thank you, I see your questions, perfect. And our second card, excuse me one second. Just clearing my throat there. Second card is how we can give more love. Oh, and this is beautiful. This card is the Water Dragon. Helps you flow easily around obstacles. Christ, light, and love are flowing. Develop your psychic abilities. Go with the flow. And we've got a beautiful green ray with this one, with also some of the pale blue and turquoise colors, the rays of the pale blue and turquoise. And so calling in that water element. So how we can give more is just let our love flow. Thank you. Unbound love. It is safe to give love. It is safe to let love flow. And you know what's interesting? I don't know if you've noticed this, but every now and again, I'm out, in public, maybe on a walk, and you pass by someone, and for whatever reason, you feel like just saying something pleasant to them, saying something nice to them, or maybe it's, again, in the coffee shop. And I've noticed before many times, people are caught off guard because they're just not used to having love or kindness. Kindness is a loving frequency. They're not used to having kindness flow to them for no reason, no quid pro quo. This is just love and kindness flowing to you. So finding a way that your ability to flow love. And if, again, it might think of kindness as a way, because kindness is like it has an action to it, right? Let your love be pulled forward in a flow by that interest, that curiosity of how you can be kind, and that it can easily flow around any obstacles. That is what helps us to move around obstacles, is our flow, and the flow of love is this we are asking to be shown today. So let your psychic abilities also, as you develop your psychic abilities, let them move you along that path as your intuition, letting your intuition flow and be the guide for how you can give more love. And our final card, and this is how we just bring it all together, is the Air Dragon. It helps you rise above earthly matters. Oh, perfect, because we want to tap into the abundance matrix of love, and we want to stay out of the limited matrix. We are rising above it. Rising above earthly matters. Communicate honestly, brings inspiration and hope. See life from a higher perspective. This one seems to be really hitting home right now because we have so much social and political unrest, and there are a lot of people who are suffering in our country and across the world as well. And that is really that can really bring us down as we observe it. So we don't want to avoid others' pain, or we don't want to put our heads in the sand. That's not the only option. The other option is to soar above it and hold it in our awareness from a higher perspective. How love can bring all of that together. Now, since we're talking a lot about romantic love being the Valentine's Day version of this, if there are relationship problems, if there are issues in your love life, in your romantic or beloved life aspect, see it from a higher perspective. Maybe zoom up to that soul contract level and see how we can take anything that is a conflict and let it and bring some diplomacy into it so that we can move toward peace. And diplomacy, by the way, is listening to all sides and then finding that win-win-win version that brings us to peace. And that takes us, in order for us, if we're talking about a partnership in which we are involved and we're going to be diplomatic, we do really have to find that higher perspective in order to be fully in the capacity to like be objective in a sense, and then to heal with subjectivity what we need to heal, to be brave enough, courageous enough to move into the diplomacy, the peace, and the win-win-win. So that is our love spread. And this card is also has the same, well, it has the light blue and indigo as all three cards had, and it also has the violet ray, which we have our candle guiding us the way for. So let's see. Martina says, I'm 43 years married in August and feel unloved. I'm so sorry. Well, I hope you can receive this now. We all here, if I may speak, and if I speak on behalf of those who would like to join in this loving space and directing love to Martina right now, and calling in the universal I love you. The universal I love you. Do you know that I end this podcast every time with I love you, whoever you are, because who you really are is love, and I love you from whoever I am, that true love. And Martina, as we just hold this loving prayer now, anyone who wants to join in, I'm saying we for whoever is opting into this prayer, we love you. We hold you in love. You are a beautiful being, mind, body, and spirit. You are capable of beautiful, creative aspects of your personality and of your body and of your mind. We are holding this in our awareness as we allow this to be expanded and appreciated. We appreciate you. In this, we are seeing and holding the awareness of the flame of love within your heart. And we are asking that flame to illumine within Martina all that is good, positive, true, creative, learning, growing, the wisdom and the curiosity all at once, the beautiful paradox and complexity, and also the simple beauty of Martina and the love that she is here to shine. We hold this. We see this for you. And hoping and praying and endeavoring and having faith in that, in and of itself, as you receive it and receive that activation and that prayer, that the love starts to flame within you now, and then you also see it showing up. If you would like for that to show up in your marriage, then I will give that to you as that option. You mentioned your marriage, that's why I'm saying that. And the card that comes through is Royal Blue and Gold Dragon, strengthens you to stand in your power with wisdom. Awaken to your own majesty, wear your cloak of power and pride. From the depths of your heart, from the true frequency of your heart, Martina, I hope that feels like a sip of love for your thirsty heart. As I have to take a sip. Metaphysical Mike says, why am I feeling such a deep-rooted feelings of unworthiness from early childhood coming up? I'm 27 and never felt this pain and awareness before. Well, Mike, 27 is a very auspicious time, actually. Because at 27, 28, so right around in there is the Saturn return. And the Saturn return is the time, once we move past it, that we're actually moving into our truer selves, into our true real life. And I'll give you an example of this. I had a friend come to town to visit, and she's an astrologer. She's really adept in astrology, let's say that. And she met another person in my life at the time who was actually working in my business. She was assisting me. And so the astrologer friend said, while the other friend wasn't around, said, "Oh, what's her sun sign?" And I said, "Aries." And the astrologer was like, "What? No, I think you have that wrong. I don't think so. I don't think she's an Aries." And I was like, "No, yeah, she's an Aries. Her birthday is March 25th. I remember her birthday. I know her birthday. It's March 25th. She's an Aries." And the astrologer's still looking perplexed. And I go, "Oh, she's 28." And she goes, "Oh, okay, I'll come back next year and I'll meet her for real," because she's right at that area of either in her Saturn return, but she probably hasn't completed her Saturn return yet. So my astrologer friend was like, "Oh, no wonder I don't really sense who she is, because she's, hasn't moved through that cycle yet." So Mike, in that time of Saturn return, there is this opportunity to release core wounds and to heal them and to learn from them. So everything's happening just as it should. And I'm sorry that you're feeling that pain, and it's just one of these cycles that it dusts that stuff up for us so that we can, it's like when you said you're feeling it, it's like smelling the trash as you take it out, So it's a good thing. You're noticing that it's there because it is leaving. And as it's leaving, you feel it for realsies. I get that. And I just moved through, as I said, in ending a karmic relationship. I was in one of those cycles. For me, it was my Chiron return, which really has to do with core wounds. So this is the opportunity. And my advice for you is just to be your own champion, believe in yourself, know that whatever the people were who were involved with that, you use the word trauma, right? Coming up, unworthiness from early childhood. You didn't say trauma. Okay. At any rate, trauma, there are all kinds of traumas. Trauma just really means whatever we're experiencing in a certain time, we aren't capable of processing all of it in that moment. And so it gets stored away. So know that it's there not to bring you down now, but for you to step up upon it and become stronger. As if you were doing box jumps or stairs, you know what I mean, to become stronger. It's the gravity against you push in order to be stronger. And you have to see that it's there. It might be a good time to get into some therapy. It might be a good time to get into some intuitive coaching or healing, intuitive healing. Just keep coming to podcasts like this, read books. You can do a lot. I mean, whether you get a practitioner or a therapist to help you or not, you really want to be doing this work all on your own as well. So, okay, thank you. So I have a good advice. I have a good suggestion for a book. It's by Bessel van der Kolk, and it's The Body Keeps the Score. And it will give you some of the insight about how we work through the things that have happened in our lives. And I have a card for you, Mike. And let me see, is there anything else? Okay, Mike. Oh, it's so funny. I saw Archangel Michael, and then I didn't even realize, even though I was saying your name, Mike, you are named for Archangel Michael. So I would also suggest that you connect with Archangel Michael, because Archangel Michael is here for you, saying it's no silly little coincidence that you are named for this angel. Michael will give you that strength, the potency of your true self, of your true frequency as you move through this, and also help you because as you're feeling that unworthiness, as you said, it makes us feel vulnerable when we're feeling unworthy. Michael will help to stoke up that flame of your worthiness and also to clear the path for you so that you feel safer as you're moving forward, even while you're moving through these feelings. And amazing. The card that I got for you was Deep Blue Dragon, and Michael it carries the blue flame, carries the blue ray with him, and so yeah, very, very, very aligned for you. Deep Blue Dragon keeps you safe by clearing your pathway. I swear I didn't look at the card. I did not look at the card. You could roll it back. You could see I didn't look at the card. So I hope you feel that synchronicity in it. By clearing your pathway, I was even gesturing like, clearing it with Michael's sword. So yeah, trust that you are protected. Walk on a path of light. Oh, I hope that helps, Mike. I really do. Oh, Michelle just popped in. Hi, nice to see you. There's another named for Michael, Michelle. Oh, good, good, good. I hope that helps. And let's see, we have Jean says, I feel like my husband and I have lived many lives together and still love and adore him after 31 years. Any truth to that? I mean, what do you mean? You want me to validate that as truth? Oh, you want to know. Okay, I gotcha. Is there truth to having lived many lives together? So I'm going to give that a hearty yes, first of all, because you sense it. So I definitely wouldn't, just out of and having you recognize that your knowing is much more than my knowing ever would be. And if certainly we're talking about positive knowing, so it is there for you. But I think I'm going to I'm going to infer that maybe we can see what a past life is. Oh, it's so interesting. So the first thing I heard about this was Golden Dawn. I heard the words Golden Dawn, and then I saw two. I saw a man and a woman partnership, and you were the woman in that life as well. And so Golden Dawn is the magic school, the mystery school of the Golden Dawn, the Hermetic school of Golden Dawn. I'm not quite saying that right, but you can look that up. Seeing that you both went into that school together to learn magic, and that you learned love magic, and then it was like this time that you really like you what is it, gilded your relationship, meaning you covered it in the frequency of gold. And it is a tribute to the universe. It is an offering to the universe to continue to live in that golden frequency. It is a way to actually create ascension frequencies for each of you, and therefore modeling it for others, and to be a blessing to others. And you got two cards. So you've got Silver Dragon, which was the one that we pulled earlier. Illuminates your potential with higher light, access untapped resources, look into your soul, see higher possibilities. And then the other one is the Dusky Pink Dragon from Andromeda. Prepares all your chakras to embody higher love. That's amazing. It's like what you did in that past life together. Accept and radiate higher love. Touch others with its flame. Oh my gosh, so aligned with that reading, right? And here's that flame of love for us. Thank you. Thank you for creating that love. I love it. I love it so much, Jean. And let's see. And Path of Life says Saturn return. Yes, yes, yes. Go find out about the Saturn return. Michelle says, if we're asking questions, I just started a relationship with an amazing man, and you know my history, so this is big. Would love guidance or messages on this union. Okay, great. So for Michelle and the beloved, and I know as I said that, I don't know this from our conversations. So I know Michelle personally. I don't know from our conversations, but I can assume from our conversations we actually are. That feels like pretty exciting for me to even say beloved, because I know it's fresh. I know it's early. But it feels very beloved. And I think that's one thing that they want to say is you can go ahead and admit that to yourself, because of course, I know that there are some social dating standards to when we say that. And actually there are some good boundary hygiene standards to when we say that. Because sometimes it feels like, someone said that in order to impose gaslighting, love bombing kinds of things. But in fact, you can admit in your heart to the degree that that is true, because that will be a comfort to you. Because of course we love each other, because of course we are in one another's company. And whether it's friendship, family, or romantic partnerships, in order for us to continue to be in one another's company, there is love. And so that's something that is being encouraged in you right now. And then when the timing of it being actually shared for the ways that it is, creating stronger bond, and so that the boundaries are now fused into one, as we still maintain autonomy within a partnership, but we do come together in a unity. So we have shared boundaries and we have separate boundaries. And that this awareness of you are holding love for this other while also holding love for yourself is a great practice for you to keep moving forward in clarity. So that's the thing. It's so hard when we're falling, when we're moving forward in romance, because of all of the chemicals and the oxytocin and everything, and it's creating in us a sense of being really pulled, especially because the oxytocin takes us into fantasy. So as you ground yourself in the ease and clarity that, of course, you have love for yourself, and of course there is love for this other if you're spending time together, that in a sense to let it be will ground the high tones of that electricity, will bring it into grounding so that you can feel very present and clear in it. So grounding, if that, for whatever ways that will help you to move forward with clarity. Oh, you got Deep Blue Dragon just like Mike did. I shuffled him. I shuffled the cards, but Michael is telling you that you are safe. Michelle. Archangel Michael is telling Metaphysical Mike, and Archangel Michael is also telling Michelle, hey, I'm here for you. Deep Blue Dragon keeps you safe by clearing your pathway. There's that word clear. Again, we're talking about clarity. Trust that you are protected. Walk on a path of light. My goodness. How fun. So Michelle says he feels like he's my beloved, and I have been hesitant to admit it. Thank you. Yep. So just admit it. You can just admit it to yourself, and the rest will, bring clarity to the whole situation. Wow. Well, my heart is full of love right now. And so that's our Valentine's episode. And just as a reminder that if you are in any situation of comparing yourself to someone else's abundance, remember, you don't need their abundance, that there is an unlimited amount of abundance in the world, and that includes for love. And that starts from your own heart warming up to the holy flame of love that your heart has in this journey, to softening with emotions, to let that soil become fertile with your beautiful emotions, that we can also ground the emotions so that we can feel that it is easy to flow around obstacles and to flow our love out to others. And with the stability of the earth and the love of Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, she is always here to remind us that we are here nurtured in her embrace. And with the clarity of our thought, to let the intelligence also be a part of our loving pursuits, to be smart, to be sharp, to be inspired. That's what that air element will help us to have, again, blowing away the debris so that we are clearer. And I pray for more and more love for you, through you, and from you, because we need you so much. And so I'm going to blow out our flame of love to dedicate it to this session. And to do that, I'm going to have to, because there is some wax, I'm going to blow it out on this, over this, just in case I blow too hard and blow wax. And if you want to say this with me, you can take this breath and blow out this candle at the same time. This is a magical working. As surely as I breathe, so shall it be. And we watch as the smoke takes away and clears away anything that we are releasing now that is no longer for us. And we say, bless you, thank you, bless you, thank you, bless you for what I have learned. And I thank you so much for shining your beautiful, loving light on our beautiful world. And thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.